Well, I mean, I'm not one of those people who can say that I've always wanted to be a potter. You know, I can truthfully say that I hadn't discovered ceramics until I went to college. We had a trip to London, and I think there were 5 of us went on a trip to see the museums and the galleries and the CPA shop and all the rest of it. And we had a lecturer who had been taught by Lucy Ree at Camberwell, and he arranged for us to visit Lucy in Albion Mews. And the 5 of us showed up at her doorstep and tapped on the door, and she was amazing. She took us in, made us tea, gave us chocolate cake, and she showed us her pots, the Hans Copers that she had there, the Hamadas, Bernaliches, the amazing moon jar that she had in her apartment. And I left there sort of thinking, wow, you know, this is the first time I'd seen those things in real life. Yeah, we'd seen pictures, we'd seen pots in museums and all this, but the first time to be able to handle and see some of these things. But more importantly, I saw this work in her life, in her place, in a lifestyle that was sort of integrated. It all belonged together. I don't enjoy the idea of putting layer upon layer on top of the pieces. It's sort of evolved really from those early days, the idea that when you've made something, the next stage, the firing part of it, was actually adding or contributing something special to the work, you know. So I started working with porcelain and soda firing, making and using as few ingredients as I could get away with, really, I guess. What I try to do is I try to mix fresh clay from the bag with about 50% of reclaim, so I'll mix fresh clay and reclaim together through a de-airing pug mill, and that's pugged through that twice. I usually try to leave it for a day or two at least before I use it, and then before actually making it, it's hand wedged, kneaded and wedged. Most of the things start their life on the wheel in one way or another. Throwing, then changing, bending, altering, kind of cutting comes into the making process later on. And the scale of the things, they will vary from little cups and bowls, which would be made from, you know, 150 or 200 grams of clay up to the bigger pieces, and then you might be talking up to, say, 20 kilos or thereabouts as a starting point for those things. That 20 kilos will be thrown, and then probably quite a lot of that trimmed or cut away from it, and recognizing that a particular clay, porcelain clay like this, on that scale, it's impossible to throw it and leave it as it's thrown, because it needs that weighted clay to kind of support itself during the drying kind of process. I'm thinking ahead always, you know, with the forms I'm making, because porcelain will change more than any other clay during the firing. It shrinks a lot more than stoneware clays. It will distort, deform, slump, bend during the firing particularly. And that has to be kind of somehow or other structured into the design. So everything is once fired. It has a single slip. I use the same slip on everything, sometimes very thinly, sometimes very thickly applied in layers, one on top of the other. And one firing, so there's a sort of quite a condensed, I was going to say simple process. It's probably a mistake to say that it's simple, because what goes on with those sort of small number of ingredients is probably very, very complicated. So one slip, one glaze, one firing was this sort of been the starting point for a number of years now. I mean, it changes a little bit. I'm trying to add things to the porcelain clay sometimes, and occasionally try a totally different sort of clay. But that's been the basis of it, and I think that one of my great heroes is Constantine Brancusi, the sculptor, and he had a lovely quote, and he said, I think it was, "Simplicity is complexity resolved," and that's a sort of a kind of a little touchstone. It's a sort of a thing that I kind of keep thinking about. Pots work when you hold them, touch them, pick them up, feel them. They work when you see them in different lights, different environments, and shadow and darkness sometimes. they're there and they talk to you when you're not looking. And the ones for me that work have that kind of quality, that sort of particular spark of energy, life people call it. Something about them that's been absorbed through the maker and is there kind of talking to us.